G'day folks, welcome to this report of activities in this playthrough of Atlantic War, the full campaign. This is a report for activities on the 7th of June, so from turns 5 through to 8. It's the end of the day, the end of the 7th of June. I'm just about to start the first turn on the 8th of June, just reporting on what's happened. This is a situation around Gold Juno's Sword, panning through the 1st and the 29th around Omaha, and I'll start sort of the details around Utah Beach here. So this is probably the quietest sector. If you've watched through the live videos, you may note that 82nd Airborne was unsupported due to supply limitations. So it was really the 4th Division clearing out sort of the remnants of German positions. They do have one sort of isolated battle group company left, but we've cleared out all these sort of resistance nests and strong points and coastal defences along here. 82nd was all pretty quiet. They're moving towards the Meteorite River, but no combat because they would suffer out of supply penalties if they did so. The Germans have responded by forming a decent defensive line in front of Montabaur. We have the 709th Division out here on the left in this area, and the 91st on the right. The 243rd is sort of coming up here, and they're going to take a position up on the right out in this area. Now all German units are now released as of this sort of turn just past the 8th turn, so they can all move, yeah, they're trying to sort of pen in the 4th, 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne. Further to the south, this is probably the biggest sort of coup for the Americans of the whole day really. You may recall their airborne landings dropped around this area, around Carentan, and the Germans sent some reinforcements to try to relieve the town. They succeeded in connecting with the town, and the 101st Airborne responded quite aggressively and threw everything they had in this area at an attack on the town, even having to sacrifice some of their battalions through mandatory attacks on those reinforcements in order to bring everything together. Fortunately, they very narrowly succeeded, and the defenders failed their morale roll and were forced to retreat, and 101st captured that town. The sort of remaining German units have tried to then pull away, and kind of being trapped by the 101st, who are trying to now surround them and keep them in this area and finish them off. As a result of capturing Carentan, 101st have been able to shift through here, follow this road out towards Isigny, where they've captured that and trapped a couple of German companies in this area. The Germans around here have really struggled. They keep getting picked off by the Americans, surrounded and picked off. Progress has been slow along the beach because of the delays with the right flank of Omaha, but we've got a couple of American battalions here from the 29th slowly pushing along. Just a few of those coastal defences, resistance nests, and static batteries left to sort out. But yeah, Trevier is captured in the middle, and 1st Division on the left, 29th on the right in this area, slowly driving to the south. Now, you can see elements of the 1st have sort of just bypassed Bayeux and are pushing out to the south. To cover Gold Juno and Sword, I'm just going to rotate the camera around and give you sort of a view of what's happening here from the German perspective, because really that's where a lot of the big activity has been out in this sector. So initially, the 21st Panzer Division moved into this open area here to try to stop the 6th Airborne from moving out into this area, ideally to seize the bridges, but they gave up on that idea pretty quickly. They were then reinforced by the 12th SS Panzer Division, who also took up a position here, and by the 711th Division, who were also out here. Basically an over concentration of German forces out here has been their biggest mistake. And as a result, it's enabled 50th Division in here to drive through here. Basically what happened was 50 Div lands around here. The The Germans were planning to send troops along this primary road straight into Bayeux. 50 Division sent some of their advanced forces to block that road and in fact cross the Lascelles River and move up here. The Germans then planned to use this secondary road, and in the next move the 50 Division troops moved up, captured Tilly-sur-Seulles and have advanced into some of this more open area beyond. The Germans, the Allies briefly trapped 3 German battalions in Bayeux. 2 managed to kind of just escape by this southern road. There's 1 left with a company engineering battalion who'll be stuck there and they'll defend. But these guys are basically trying to pull back and away. So what the Germans have been forced to do is stretch out their line, pull everything away from the Caen Canal and the Eure River and quickly rush out to the west to fill these gaps and block 50 Division rushing up here and the 1st Division on their left and then 29th further to the left. So this is 29th Division here, sorry, 21st Panzer Division rushing out along these roads. Panzerlehr Division has just arrived and has taken up a position around Villers-Bocage. They're going to hold the position on their right. We have 346th Division, who have also recently arrived, come straight through Caen out here. They'll try and blunt 50 Division's attack. And then to the right of that, you've just got a stretched out line of relatively strong 12th Panzer Division units. This is a line stretching along here. Here's the headquarters right in the middle. And because they're quite strong, 12, 10, 12 strength, I'm kind of hoping they can hold against these Allied attacks. But of course, they're facing the combined mights of Gold, Junot, Sword. We have 50 Div out here. This is their headquarters here. We have the 7th Armoured. It's a relatively small group of units, armoured, mechanised infantry and so forth, concentrated around here. There is 1 unit that's way out here at the very limits of supply. Then I've got 51st Division in this area, 3rd Canadian Division, 3rd Infantry Division and 6th Airborne. Now, again, historically, if you know the history, I think it was 3rd Canadian who drove out towards here, towards Capriquet airfield here, and they met sort of the Germans heading the other way. So, yeah, this is, I mean, the 3rd Canadian is just a bit further to the east compared to what they were historically. Historically, 50 Div and this fighting around Tilly-sur-Seulles. Yeah, roughly on historical parity, give or take. Couple of kilometres here and there. Historically, they didn't make the airfield. They were pushed back just. I think they actually advanced around this area, and then were pushed back by this German counterattack. Yeah, 50 Div, but certainly advancing quite rapidly out here. These guys still trying to pull back. Great progress here. Now, the main concern for the Germans is this sort of big gap in their lines. This is the extent of 21st Panzer Division advance. They've got 1 unit here, a headquarters unit here, 2 companies here, and that's it. These guys trapped, surrounded by 101st Airborne, and then they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units in this whole area to cover. Just a huge line, and well, they'll have some reinforcements coming on shortly, but the Americans will make some good ground. This is 90 Division just charging straight out across the Cotentin Peninsula out there. So yeah, this is where the German problems lie. And because they've had to stretch their line out, they're kind of leaving some of these positions quite isolated, particularly around here. We've got basically the whole, I think this is 51st Division here. This is all of 51st Division and 3rd Division, 3rd Canadian. There's a lot of British and Canadian strength just in this area. And as they're doing so, 711th Division are having to stretch their lines out, which might give 6th Airborne an opportunity to attack. So basically, the Germans can't defend everywhere. But at the moment, they're not defending anywhere in here. So that's kind of what's causing some panic. And indeed, I had to rush these guys back from, where were they? I think they were down here to defend St. Lo. So the story is, out here, those Germans doing well to slow down 4th, 82nd, loss of KRN-10 around here, open 1st and 29th Division advances out of Omaha Beach to the south. Bayeux still being held by the Germans, not quite captured yet. 50 Div having the biggest advance along the Selles River and capturing Tilly-sur-Selles and some important sort of connections in this area. And then just this mass of British units and Canadian units coming from Gold Juno Sword Beaches, getting ready to confront the 12th SS Panzer Division. And as I said, this is the end of the 7th of June, so I'm about to do the first turn for the 8th of June, and I anticipate quite a few attacks along this German line. There's relatively few attacks at night. You can see the disrupted unit here just clearing the beach defences, just doing that, but no other combat throughout the front. We'll kick things off with a new wave of attacks on the 8th of June and possibly surrounding some more Germans out here, possibly even out there as well. Stay tuned and I'll report back on that activity as it happens. All right, thanks folks.